The International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement is an international humanitarian movement with approximately 97 million volunteers, members and staff worldwide, which was founded to protect human life and health, to ensure respect for all human beings, and to prevent and alleviate human suffering, within three distinct organizations that are legally independent from each other, but are united within the movement through common basic principles, objectives, symbols, statutes and governing organizations. The International Committee of the Red Cross, a private humanitarian institution founded in 1863 in Geneva, Switzerland, in particular by Henry Dunant and Gustave Monnier. Its 25-member committee has a unique authority under international humanitarian law to protect the life and dignity of the victims of international and internal armed conflicts. The Cross was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize on 3 occasions. The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies was founded in 1919 and today it coordinates between the 192 National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies within the movement. Internationally in close cooperation with the national societies, relief assistance missions responding to large-scale emergencies. The International Federation Secretariat is based in Geneva, Switzerland. In 1963, the Federation was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize jointly with the Cross. The National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies exist in nearly every country in the world. Currently 192 national societies are recognized by the Cross and admitted as full members of the Federation. Each entity works in its home country according to the principles of international humanitarian law and the statutes of the international movement, depending on their specific circumstances and capacities. National societies can take on additional humanitarian tasks that are not directly defined by international humanitarian law or the mandates of the international movement. They are tightly linked to the respective national healthcare system by providing emergency medical services in every country. Until the middle of the 19th century, there were no organized or well-established army nursing systems for casualties, and no safe and protected institutions to accommodate and treat those who were wounded on the battlefield. A devout Reformed Christian, the Swiss businessman Jean-Henri Dunant, in June 1859, traveled to Italy to meet French Emperor Napoleon III with the intention of discussing difficulties in conducting business in Algeria, at that time occupied by France. He arrived in the small town of Solferino on the evening of the 24th of June after the Battle of Solferino, an engagement in the Austro-Sardinian War. In a single day, about 40,000 soldiers on both sides died or were left wounded on the field. Jean-Henri Dunant was shocked by the terrible aftermath of the battle, the suffering of the wounded soldiers, and the near-total lack of medical attendance and basic care. He completely abandoned the original intent of his trip, and for several days he devoted himself to helping with the treatment and care for the wounded. He took point in organizing an overwhelming level of relief assistance with the local villagers to aid without discrimination. Back in his home in Geneva, he decided to write a book entitled A Memory of Solferino, which he published using his own money in 1862. He sent copies of the book to leading political and military figures throughout Europe and people he thought could help him make a change. In addition to penning a vivid description of his experiences in Solferino in 1859, he explicitly advocated the formation of national voluntary relief organizations to help nurse wounded soldiers in the case of war, an idea that was inspired by Christian teaching regarding social responsibility, as well as his experience after the battlefield of Solferino. He called for the development of an international treaty to guarantee the protection of medics and field hospitals for soldiers wounded on the battlefield. In 1863, Gustave Monnier, a Geneva lawyer and president of the Geneva Society for Public Welfare, received a copy of Dunant's book and introduced it for discussion at a meeting of that society. As a result of this initial discussion, the society established an investigatory commission to examine the feasibility of Dunant's suggestions and eventually to organize an international conference about their possible implementation. The members of this committee which has subsequently been referred to as the Committee of the Five. Aside from Dunant and Monnier were physician Louis Appier, who had significant experience working as a field surgeon, Appier's friend and colleague Theodore Munva, from the Geneva Hygiene and Health Commission, and Guillaume-Henri Dufour, a Swiss army general of great renown. 8 days later, the 5 men decided to rename the committee to the International Committee for Relief to Th.